still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only
Good evening, it's NUFC Matters and it is the return of Talk of the Toon, which means, of course, the return of Sid. How are you, mate?
Good. Hello. Good to be back. All the rest of it. I'm not sure how to say that these days, but yeah, good to be back.
Yes, you've been missed. A lot of people in the chat have been going, when's Sid back? They've been shouting for you as much as they've been shouting for Supermac and Gibbo, so that's good. You're up there now, mate, with those two legends. Songs from the Attic is the YouTube channel. Songs from the Attic 1977, of course, is Sid's tagline there. But get yourself onto his YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you're into music, which of course a little bit of this show is all about. Then please follow Sid's channel. Some great reviews of albums, top 10 albums, you name it, they're all on there. Some great stuff. I've contributed to a couple myself as well, and yeah, well worth subscribing to the channel. But Sid, we were talking off air before we came on, and I said we could probably do 6 hours today because but you said you'd have been no good in the summer because you would have been tearing your hair out over all of this Isaac situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's done me head in. I've hated every minute of it. It's just one of those things. I'd be like, I always go for a walk late at night, about 11 o'clock. I've either walk the dog or walk on my own at that point because she's so slow now. And it's just like, I try and take myself away from it all, and I'll stick an audio book on because it's driving me demented listening to about football and what's going on and or not, or who we haven't bought. And yeah, it's deeply depressing, absolutely depressing. But
where do you stand on it? Where do you stand on it? I've got to ask you that.
Let's get it out of the way. Yeah, I think it's been nothing short of disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. If he'd come out at the beginning of the season and said, like, beginning of the window, like, let's say a couple of days after the Everton game, and said, listen, I've looked my time at Newcastle, I've decided I'm going to go, would have been absolutely gutted, let's be honest, you know, and all of this revisionism of like, oh yeah, well, would have accepted it and he went to Liverpool? No, it wouldn't. Be absolutely, would have went absolutely mental. But he's going to Liverpool, it would be like an absolute, you know, really stick in your craw. But you would have accepted it a lot more than the way that he's gone about it. And Eze is the perfect example. And everyone's given that as the proper way of doing things. And he's done it properly, you know. And there's a right way and a wrong way of doing things. And if you sign a contract or given you work to do anything, then you go out and do it. And I'm sorry, but just withholding, you know, not playing for the club, it just stinks. As far as I'm concerned, we should have 6 points on the board by now, and he contributes. You could argue he's to blame for us not having 5 additional points, and I think that's a really strong argument to have. And I don't see a way back. I don't see a way back. I still don't want to sell him to Liverpool, though.
No.
Because I think they've gone around the whole thing appallingly. I think the whole thing's been nothing short of abysmal. I think certain journalists, we all know who, have clearly influenced the whole situation from day one. But for me, if he'd come out a couple of days after the transfer window saying, I want to go, we would have then focused as a club and bought somebody. And I can't understand why the club do not have a striker, at least one, probably two in by now. I don't understand. The Ekiteke one is the biggest one. I think it's the one that flummoxed me the most, because I think they're virtually the same player. And he scored a great goal last night. Liverpool don't need him. Liverpool don't need Isak.
Statistically, they are level.
Yeah.
On every shape or form of the game, they are level. Even XG, which I hate.
It's so similar. I don't understand why you would buy the same player. If you're going to buy another centre forward, buy a different type of centre forward, and therefore you can adjust the game accordingly. Maybe buy a big lad up front or whatever, or an absolute speed merchant or somebody with different attributes. But I don't understand buying the same player. So I don't get it. And if Newcastle, and Eddie Howe, apparently his best mate is the guy in charge of the transfers at Liverpool. Why? And again, I'm sure there's lots more to me surmising here, by the way. Why not just have said to him, listen, you can have Isak, we get Ekiteke, let's do that, let's do the deal afterwards. Let's get him through the door, then we'll give you him. We'll get a whopping amount of money, because Newcastle would be roughly £500 million up in terms of PSR. I think that's roughly about right, once they've paid off the various contractual bits. And we're quids in, and we've got a guy who's virtually the same player. So have Newcastle shot themselves in the foot? Have Liverpool been greedy? I really don't know. I'm no wiser than the person next to me, and probably more wise than those people online who pretend that they're in the know, because they're just full of garbage, I think is the polite way of saying it without me swearing. So that's the bit that really gets me. And I'm concerned, because we're now up against the wall, let's be honest, as a club trying to get a centre forward in, because clubs are just quoting silly prices now, and it's just like Hollywood prices, for players who look pretty good. I've not seen enough of them. I'll tell you what, though, I do really rate Visser. He really reminds me of Ian Wright. He's a proper finisher. He's got that poach as in the box type of finisher, but he's 29. So you're not going to pay stupid money for a 29-year-old. You probably get 4 good years out of him, though.
And that's the thing. It's just, you're looking at that. You're looking at that situation. You're looking at the others that we've actually looked at in the transfer window who have been 28, 29, and you're thinking, okay, there's no sell-on value. But my mindset would be, if we could sign Wissa and another who will come in and do the business and get us into the Champions League again next season and the season after that, and potentially winning a trophy, then our PRS. Our FFP, we are making money, and commercially we will become a bigger and better club. And
we are. I saw something today, and I didn't realise this. I read this up today, that we're the fifth. Is it the fifth biggest club, or certainly the fifth in terms of numbers in the Far East?
Right.
Now we were nowhere. We were nowhere 3 or 4 years ago. There wasn't any of this. There was hardly any of these other. You go to South Korea, where there was some fan base suddenly appeared, and you think, wow, where's that come from? Or Tokyo, or wherever. They were very small in numbers, and now all of a sudden the momentum's there. We've got it running, and we're getting fans from all over the world. That's great. I love all of that. So you've got to keep the momentum going, and I think you then get your money back through that, don't you? Really, in terms of building up the global fan base, because that's what you have to do. Otherwise, we're just going to remain the biggest club in the Northeast, which is neither here nor there. It's not great competition, to be honest. No. But no, going back to Isak, absolutely appalling. He's dropped his mates right in it. If I was on that team, I would not be a happy man, is the polite way I'm going to say it, and come back to training. Would you be surprised if somebody kicks him up into the air? Because I wouldn't. Not now. But, not with these knees. But honestly, it's so demoralized. It's so unprofessional. That's what it is. It's so unprofessional. You know, if somebody goes back on the word, then you go. Even still, you have to then you do things in a professional manner, and he's done nothing in a professional manner, and it absolutely stinks. But if Newcastle give in now, this allows other players to come to the club and think, right, well, we'll do exactly the same. And I'll tell you the other narrative I absolutely hate, posted by certain journalists down south, and all of a sudden it started getting a little bit of momentum going as well. There's all this, oh, well, other players are watching what's going on at Newcastle now and knowing that there's not a way out, you know, and that they might get held back, you know, because Newcastle aren't going to let them go. And I think what a load of old crap that is. That's just a narrative being spun out there by journalists who support the likes of Arsenal. That's one of them, and a couple of others who are sort of just trying to look after their clubs a little bit as well. So it's all going out there, just little drip feed into this whole onto Sky. Honestly, it stinks, absolutely stinks, but not as bad as Isak's behaviour, because that's just hot.
Do you think this transfer window is like it has been because we dared to win a trophy, Sid? Is it because we rocked the foundations a little bit of the cartel, and because for the second season in a row we finished above Man United, and you know we won the Carabao Cup? Is it? Cause it almost? I mean, Geordies as a whole, as a fan base, we can be paranoid a little bit. You know, the Southern press are against us and this, that, and the other. We do say this quite a bit, but it does feel like. It feels almost like the whole Premier League's turned against us in a lot of ways because we've not sent anybody, you know?
It's the sheer temerity of it all. I mean, look, it's the whole PSR thing's just an absolute joke. Look at Villa. I mean, there's all of a sudden the fan bases have come together, you know? For the first time since the sob on the Tyne incident, both sets of fan bases have come together just in terms of the way that they see the whole PSR thing being wrong, you know? And you got Forest, who were also seen as upstarts. And you'll get Everton soon, because they're going to suddenly have money to spend, especially if they sell their women's football team. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden there's 4 other clubs who could upset the apple cart. I mean, I genuinely think that there are 5 clubs. I don't count Spurs having a bigger... I don't see, if there's a toss of a coin, I genuinely think, apart from the London thing, if a player has us or Spurs to choose from, I think they go for us, you know? So I think we've sort of chiseled away at Spurs, but we're not going to beat Chelsea at the minute and Liverpool and Arsenal. I mean, the Man United one is the one that sickens me, because I don't see the attraction apart from the history of it all. But, you know, it is what it is.
I hate this narrative about history as well, because they say history, but, you know, people saying about Chelsea and Man City, they're going with the history. The history's the same as ours. In fact,
we'd won more trophies than both of them before they were taken over.
Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make, you know, and that's that, you know, their takeovers were allowed, and it was before all this, you know, all the rules were changed and the regs were changed. The bottom line is, and I see there's a few Liverpool fans in the chat again, and you know, it's good. Listen, it's good because it shows that we are on a different level. It's better than having, you know, Wolves fans in the chat or whatever, people who are in the bottom 3, because, you know, it shows which end of the table we are expected to be at. Look, Newcastle are, you know, they won the trophy fair and square last season, but we also won a trophy up against it. You know, we had the hardest draw. But yes, you know, you can point to certain things and say, look, played a part. You can say we played Liverpool at the right time in the final, but that final day was set at the start of the season. You know, if you wanted to win the Carabao Cup so much, then plan to win it and do it a particular way. But for me, we're not allowed to spend more money. We're not allowed to spend more money because the rule changes, and it's as simple as that. And you know, that Liverpool fan there, Gav, what did he say? It's got nothing to do with the other clubs. Newcastle have got rich owners, but they're not a rich club, mate. We are. We should be a rich club. We've got good commercial revenue, but we can't spend it because of the rules. Those rules came in, and listen, I know what Sid's views are. You know, when the Saudis came in, and I know some people were pro-Saudi takeover, other people were in the middle. Some people were very against it. But a lot of it comes down to that. You know, the simple fact of the matter is, the Premier League did not want the Saudis owning a club in the division. The top 6 didn't want Saudi ownership in the division. And what happened is they've pulled rank, they've changed the rules, and it means that we can't spend the money that everybody else has been able to spend when their takeovers went through. Simple as that. It's not a fair playing field, and that has also affected Aston Villa, because now Aston Villa, who haven't qualified for the Champions League, are now going to have to, they've had to sell their players. We've scored massively there. We've managed to take Jacob Ramsey, and just
Looked great last night.
Well, just as well, and we'll get on it last night in a bit, but just as well, because we managed to nick him. I hope we can nick Watkins before the end of the transfer window, because I think Watkins and Wissa would be superb. Those two players, for me, would be superb for Newcastle short term, and would get us into finals, get us an opportunity to win something else, get us into Europe season after season. So for me, that's where we stand on that. But we, am I right or am I wrong, Sid?
No, I think that's exactly the case. That's definitely the way it goes. And I'm very much as well. I personally think there should be some sort of transfer sort of limit per, in terms of how much you're entitled to spend per window. Because I don't want Newcastle suddenly going, we're going to spend £1 billion every window just because you can. I'm absolutely not in favour of that. I think there should be some sort of limit, and maybe include the wages in that limit as well, just so it's a little bit more even right across the board. What that is, that's up to others to sort of work out. Me personally, but at the minute, it just stinks. It really does. The Man United one, honestly, it sticks in my craw.
Yeah.
Cunha is the one player that I really wanted to get for the season.
Yeah, you did. You mentioned him as well.
I think he's genuinely a top player. He can play number 10. He can play up front. His touch is brilliant. He's a super. Reminds me a bit like Berbatov, but with a bit more physicality about him. Mm-hmm. And I think he's a super player. I was gutted not. He's the player I would love to have seen. He would have fitted so well into our system. But
it wasn't to be. It wasn't meant to be. Okay, look, as always, we're halfway through the show. We do bring Rob in after the ads, and we do a bit of music. So let's spend the next 15 minutes talking about the game last night. There's some Liverpool fans in the chat as well, and fair play to you, Gav. He says we were lucky last night. You lot were amazing. You showed amazing fight. Wayne, good evening. Look, for me, I thought Newcastle United, going down to 10 men with Liverpool's quality up front in that final third, I feared the worst. And when that second goal went in,
the second one,
Ekitike passed his third goal of the season into the net.
It's a great goal.
I feared the worst. I really did. And despite all our hard work and effort, I thought Anthony Gordon has done it again. He's shot himself in the foot, and he's affected the team massively here. And this is a write-off. But you know what? Newcastle United never know when they're done. And Dan Burn and Bruno, of course, leading as captain from the front, were brilliant last night. But the whole team deserved it. And the fans deserve a big pat on the back as well, because we made it into that bear pit. We made it into that cauldron. We went a bit quiet when the second goal went in, and fair enough, you would expect that. But then people riled, and when Bruno scored that goal, it was absolutely supposed. It was biblical, Paul. You're right. Give us your take on the game last night, Sid. For me, we did everything.
It was magnificent. It was absolutely raucous, I think is the sort of adjective I go with. It was really, really noisy. The crowd were brilliant all the way through the game. We were absolutely superb. I thought we played really, really well, but we didn't put the ball in the back of the net. And Gordon missed a couple of chances where I think a proper centre forward would have scored. Certainly the header. One of them where the ball was whipped across. Was it Elanga? Elanga played very well, by the way. I thought he was excellent. He whipped a really great ball in, and again, proper centre forward, 6-yarder. Les Ferdinand or someone would have broke the back of the net from that distance. They would have just dived in ahead of the defender. But Gordon's not really got that sort of instinct. I'm not blaming him for that.
He's not.
The red card was a stupid challenge. Red card all day long. I know you disagree, but for me it was
I don't disagree, but I've got Liverpool fans on my Facebook. So what I did was I put it out there, and then I put the picture of the Jaws film. I'm going to need a bigger boat. I went fishing today, and I caught a few on Twitter as well.
It was a straight red card, and it was stupid because it probably cost us. Because if you look at their last goal, we were a man short as the ball went through to the back there. And it wasn't Tino's fault, because Tino was doing the right thing, marking a man. There was nobody on the back because we were a man down, and that's what the kid put it away well, to be fair to him as well. So it was a sucker punch. I thought we played really well. The comeback was amazing, and the atmosphere was great. And there was about 5 minutes to go, and I said to Stephen, I was sitting next to him, I said, listen, if we lose this game, because you still felt like you might, I can't blame any of the players. They were just brilliant, you know, apart from Anthony Gordon, who I will put it out there, you know. And, you know, all well and good apologising, but this is the second time in, 10 games that he's been sent off? You know, he was sent off at Brighton, against Brighton. So it's, you know, he needs to learn. He needs to learn. It's not good enough. So really disappointing. More importantly, the ref, I'm sorry. How he passes the fitness tests, I will never know. You know, I mean, dear me. But secondly, he's just awful. He was awful for both teams. He's a poor referee. And he bottled it at times as well. I mean, Liverpool should have been down to 10 men. I thought the concert thing was pretty clear. I thought the challenge on Bruno was very, at worst, a yellow card, and I think that would have maybe been the second yellow. So they should have been down to 10. They should have been down to 10. I'm absolutely convinced by it. And that would have obviously evened things out a little bit. But at the end of the day, the difference between both teams for me was Ekiteke, for example. It was just somebody who can smack the ball in the back of the net, somebody who can finish. He had one touch roughly in the game and he scored, you know, and that's what a centre forward does. We just didn't have one, and it's as clear as day. And Isak is to blame. We should be currently sitting pretty at the top of the table. And somebody asked what my prediction would be if we had two proper centre forwards, and we don't know when. Isak, I mean, he was rubbish for the last part of the season. Is that what we really were going to expect to come back to the team again?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are big question marks, you know. Or are we going to see the guy who was sensational for a spell during the middle of the season? Which one are you going to get? I mean, he looked injured for a part of last season, but who knows, you know? As a guess, man, if we had two proper centre forwards in, I would say we would be top three. And I'd be really, really comfortable about that as well. And we'd really have a chance of pushing for really, and that sounds stupid, pushing for the title. Without a centre forward, we're going to be pushing for top 10. You know, that is such a big difference. It's absolutely ridiculous difference. But that's what the difference. That's why the centre forwards get paid more money. It's the hardest thing to do is bang the ball in the back of a net. I mean, that's Supermac. You know, I think his old phrase was "never be scared to miss." And I'm afraid sometimes some players are a bit too scared to take a shot, you know, when this probably should. An example last night was Tonali when he was through. He should have smacked it instead of trying to pass to Gordon, you know. If it'd been Barnes, I'd have fancied him to score, but not Gordon because he's not a great finisher. If he's watching, sorry, you know, he could be. But, yeah, it's a real concern. It's a real concern. We need two strikers. Asula, can I just say well done to him? He scored a very good goal. You know,
should we have started him, or I think he's a Liverpool fan? I think he said in hindsight should have had faith in Asula, started him central, Gordon on the left. That would have made it harder for Szoboszlai to. Szoboszlai was playing out of position.
He's had a poor pre-season, hasn't he? You know, and you know at the end of the day, Eddie Howe knows his stuff. So he's had a poor pre-season, and it's hard to say, isn't it? But he offers more physicality, certainly, and he's quicker than Gordon. People forget this. Asula, apparently he's even quicker than the lad we got on the wing. He's the quickest player at the club. He's absolutely lightning. He's got all the right attributes, but as I said to one of my mates, is he going to be one of these players like Les Ferdinand, like Ian Wright, who maybe comes good at 25? Comes really good later on in life, and maybe he's not with us. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. There's something there, though. There's absolutely something there. But there's some absolute stellar performances yesterday. Can I also put out as well how brave was Tonali to play when he clearly popped his shoulder and he was running around like that? It was madness, but absolute bravery, and shows to Isak what dedication means to play for your club. You know, the guy's put himself out there. He's knocked his shoulder in, and he still wanted to play. You know, it's like watching people, for the cricket fans out there, it's like watching Malcolm Marshall in the 80s playing with a broken arm and still bowling in at 90 miles an hour. It's just, you know, absolutely well done to him. Absolutely superb. I thought all of the team were brilliant, but I thought Tino was sensational. I thought he was brilliant. Dan Burn was brilliant, and Bruno, best performance in a year, I think. You know, I thought he was that good. I thought he was absolutely just superb. We bossed their midfield. They have got some great players though, and I know people are having a go at Wirtz at the moment because he looked rubbish, but he's only played a couple of games, you know, and it might take 6 months to adapt to the Premier League. So I think people are being a little premature saying that he's terrible. You know, give him a bit of time. People said that about De Bruyne and other players as well, and you know, I think it proves otherwise. So let's not be too sort of hasty there. But their defence is terrible. And they need to go out and spend money on defenders, centre halves in particular. So I would think they'd be better off spending 150 million buying 2 top centre halves than buying a centre forward because they don't need it. Maybe he's need another left winger. Don't know, but they don't need another centre forward.
Goalkeepers as well in the summer. We changed. Little change around. Dubravka left, went to Burnley, broke a record as well in his first game by holding the ball too long. But listen, great servant he was in the time he was here. But we brought Ramsdale in. This, you know, the much maligned chase for Trafford led to him going to Man City, which in the first couple of games doesn't look as if it was a bad idea now that he's gone there. But Ramsdale, good competition for Nick Pope?
Yeah, I think they're very much of a muchness. I think Pope's better at coming out crosses, good with his throws, great shot stopper. I think the other lad, Ramsdale, brilliant with his feet, decent shot stopper. Not much between them, in my opinion. I personally wanted to go and get the lad who went to PSG. So obviously he's very, very top draw. I forgot his name now. And he's just signed for PSG, so he's their number one. But there were others out there who I thought were better. I know Man United are looking at one as well. I forget the guy's name from Belgium. But so I thought there were better keepers out there. But Ramsdale's coming with a great attitude. And I think that's half the battle. Come with a great attitude. He seems really dedicated and wanting to prove himself. I suspect he probably will be the number one by the end of the season. But Pope's not done it. Pope's done nothing wrong in the first 2 games. He had no chance against all 3 of the good shots today. I mean, I seen somebody posting, "Oh well, Pope should have done better." I thought, bloody hell, you know, Stretch Armstrong wouldn't have saved the first one. You know, it was just like, you know, what are you going to do? It comes off the inside of the bar. That's as good a strike as you're going to get in terms of placement. So yeah, it was just unlucky. I think he will take over in the end, but not yet, because 4 million is quite a lot for a loan. But it's not a ridiculous amount. But again, if they wanted Trafford, though, doesn't it show how awful some of the buy-ins been over the summer? Just go and pay the money. If you wanted to pay the money and then get it done, and they waited so long until Man City just decided to come back in and snap them up. So the buy-in was terrible for a spell, and the dithering, you know.
I mean, we don't know what the maths is. You know, we don't know what the situation is. Nobody does really. And if, you know, Newcastle aren't going to tell people. I think the most disappointing thing about the transfer window is, first of all, like you say, it appears the way that it's reported that Newcastle, every time we go for a player, it's common knowledge and everybody knows who we're going for. Secondly, Newcastle get told it's 50 million for the player, so they go in with 35. Quite clearly, they're never going to get a player at 35 million if it's 50 million to start with. And thirdly, you know, it just appears that you know, when it comes to closing a deal, they're so slow, and that's disappointing. Does that come down to not having a sporting director and not having a CEO? It's got to.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, the Sesko thing as well. Oh my God. I'd lost the will to live by the end of it. I'm hoping he turns out to be one that we're not going to regret anyway.
Well, Paddy Power said Manchester United have agreed to 2 years to ruin Sesko's career, which under this manager, it's definitely going to happen.
I'm not convinced by him. Although, as I said, I think Cunha's top draw, and the guy on the right wing is excellent. Obviously from Brentford, he's a very good player as well. But I'm not convinced, I think is the phrase with regards to him. So I wasn't going to wet my pants over that one. But it's the Ekateki one, I think, is the one that really sticks in your craw because he's a top player. He's top player. I mean, the fact that we wanted him before we wanted Isak, which people remember rightly, he was our first choice before Isak, and you can see why. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, man, you don't look terrible. I agree, Paulie, 100%. And looks like Jackson is off to Bayern. Again, Jackson, listen, beggars can't be choosers. Which would you rather have, Jackson or Vardy coming in? Because at the moment, it looks as if Vardy's could be our only option if the reports that Wolves are wanting 65 to 70 million pound now for Larson. I can't see Newcastle, bidding that either. Okay, we are halfway through the show. A big thank you to everyone tuned in, by the way. We've got 270 watching on YouTube, but we've got 700 of you watching on X. So if you are watching on X, please jump over onto NUFC Matters. Search NUFC Matters and just hit the subscribe button. It is free and we do 7 shows a week. Rob is ready in the green room. We'll have a quick ad break and we'll be back with a little bit of music. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickys.co.uk. Email info@mrvickys.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatters.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatters.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk. And it's a big welcome back to Rocking Rob. How are you, Rob?
Very good, gentlemen. How are you both?
All good, my friend. And I just want to say congratulations to Gateshead. What a result. 3-0 down and 4-3 winners at the weekend. Brilliant, Rob.
Yeah, 8 minutes in injury time and we got the winner. Unbelievable. Considering we didn't even have 48 hours rest after the game prior to unbelievable. Well, spirit. Really good.
Fantastic. Great spirit, mate. Okay, good to see you. Thanks as well for jumping in on the Amigos as well during the summer. It's been great to have you on there when you've been able to do it. I know you've been busy. But as always, on Talk of the Toon, it's an opportunity for Rob to review an album, and then Sid takes his turn by giving us his album and a book as well. So over to you, Rob.
Okay, so before I do, I'd just like to thank my cousin who sent me these in the post. Shed 7, two albums. My cousin, he stays in Cramlington. But thank you very much for that. It was really nice, limited editions. But moving on, we've got the 1985. We've got Tears of Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. The follow-up, I know you love this, Sid, as well, the Hurting album. Really outstanding. And again, I think take for granted how young they were. Writing these songs and arrangements are unbelievable. So yeah, this is a follow-up to the Hurting, which is probably in my top 10. So this starts out with Shout, the political song. It's very iconic. To me, I'm not keen on it. It's mega repetitive. The end is very, very big country-ish. You know, these guitars do sound like the bagpipes. He's standing on what looks to be the Highlands in Scotland. But it's okay. It's again, it was a smash hit single, and it was, you know, it was a big hit for them. And you got track 2, The Working Hour, beautiful song. I think this Tears of Fears done a poll on what songs you want to hear. And I think this won it outright. The Working Hour, it's the most requested live song according to the poll. Outstanding song, really, really nice saxophone opening on this one. The drummer, Manny Elias, unbelievable, very, very technical, but less is more. Brilliant song. It's just heartwarming. It's just the warmth about it, the production as well. It's just outstanding. They've got Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Again, I'm not keen, but there was 6 singles off this album. It's again, it's an 80s classic, but it's not for me. But and also done the charity song, Everybody Wants to Run the World as well. Sort of spin off after Live Aid, that sort of thing. Decent video to it as well. I think Kurt Smith driving a Cadillac across like Route 66 or something like that. It's okay though. They've got Mother's Talk, brilliant song. Really like this song. One of my favourites on this one. Again, full bass by Kurt Smith. The lyrics as well, it's sort of like tongue in cheek, you know, if you keep doing that, you'll change like that, you know, like with the weather. Sort of bad habits, sort of things that your mother told you about growing up. Quite a few from me anyway. Again, brilliant production. It's got quite a dancey vibe to it as well. Again, sort of the bass and keyboards on it, sort of like gel well perfectly, but it's a great song. And you've got I Believe. I was listening to this again today, and it's to me personally, it's like it's one of these like very sentimental, hits a few nerves, and it's about reflection from the trauma, past trauma in life. But again, like I say, they were that young, doing Hurting and Songs from the Big Chair. Their experience and knowledge even then was outstanding. It's a bit sleepy, I think. I think Robert Wyatt, who done that song Shipbuilding, he was offered this song, refused it, but I think it would have been suited better to Robert Wyatt than Tears for Fears. But it's really good. I love the lyrics to it. It's just, the video is strange. It's just roller doors about sitting on a chair, just his jeans on, more or less, open up his heart and his emotions with it. It's got a bit of jazz atmosphere, sort of bluesy, but it's very atmospheric. It's different, but it's good. It has a good place on the album, especially lyrically. We've got Broken. This is a strange one because this sort of like used to end like Mother's Talk or go into Mother's Talk. They still play it. But I think for me, this is like my favourite song on the album. Especially, it's like a live segue after Mother's Talk. It goes into this and it just closes with about 2 minutes of live performance. It's very uplifting. It's a good tempo for me. Again, the guitar and bass in it as well. It's really quite heavy, quite rocky. 3 minutes, but it's outstanding again. But it's got this head over heels that goes into. Again, going into Head Over Heels. If you've not seen the video to it, it's quite a good video. It's like in the library, Royal Doors of Bell. It's got this crush on a librarian. Kurt Smith's there, and there's a monkey taking library books out, and Kurt's trying to teach the monkey to read, and all these things. It's just a bit fun. I must have had a laugh with it, but it's a great song. When you hear the piano part going into it, it's, you know, I wanted to be with you alone to talk about the weather, trying to date a girl for the first time or get a girl's attention, I think. Then you've got the last song. It's called Listen. It's strange. It's very strange. It's mega spiritual. It's got that thing about it. It's like lying under the stars, letting your mind wander, go wherever it was. It's enigmatic, mysterious, but it's pretty much a masterpiece, but it's a very, very strange song to end the album on. But like I say, the standout songs for me is The Working Hour, Head Over Heels, and Broken. And I think there's only one of the singles on that. And I do remember having the cassette at the time, being very popular at school because nobody could afford the albums, and I had the cassette. But as you see, I have the vinyl now. So yeah, it's for me, it's got a bit an 8 out of 10. But it's 3 songs, right? I say 3 standout songs that are absolutely amazing. So yeah, 1985, the year of Live Aid, great album, and they're still going. I mean, they had a fallout. Kurt Smith had his album called Soul on Board, which was quite a good album. Roland Dorsabell, he had the album Elemental, which is a good album as well. And I think they both met. I think it's college student or college university in Bath. That's how they met, became friends, and had a bit of a dark upbringing. Hence the album, the Hard Thing, their debut album, which is outstanding, isn't it? Sid, you'll know that. You'll agree with
Yeah,
that.
the Hurtons top draw. I mean, the Hurtons a proper 5-star album. It's brilliant.
Amazing.
That one's not as good, but it's still very, very good.
Yeah. So before I go, when I was off, I was buying some beer pumps, and they're music based. It's just a bit novelty. I got the Squeeze Cool for Cats beer pump tag, and Sisters of Mercy Temple of Love from Leeds. And moving forward, Denise Applewhite, if you could drop me a message as we've been talking, and you've got time now to give me your recommendation for next week, and that would be fantastic.
Good stuff. Before you go, Rob, let's hear what Sid's got to offer. Sid, what have you got for us today?
Yeah, well, I don't know whether to go with the book first or whether to go with the album. I'll go with the album. So I've gone with Two Rye by Dexys. It's absolutely top draw, and my best mate Ian will be watching this, and he's wrong because he prefers the original mix. This is the Kevin Rowland As It Should Sound Now mix, and which is better. But there you have it. It's brilliant. It's just a 5-star classic album all day long. The first album's incredible, by the way, which I've already reviewed on the show. Searching for the Young Soul Brothers. This is a totally different album. So we've gone from Stax and sounding like it's like a Stax type sort of band. All of a sudden we've got fiddles, and we've got this sort of Irish lilt to the band. But it's just brilliant. So 1982, it was a top 3 album, might not have got number 1. Celtic Soul Brothers kicks it off, sort of almost sets out the manifesto for the album, which is just brilliant, really uplifting. It was a great single as well. Let's Make This Precious is this fantastic song that's sort of next again up tempo. Then we got All in All, this one last waltz, which Kevin wrote about the relationship with his dad and this troubled life that him and his dad had throughout all of their life, basically, right towards the end until towards the end. And it's a beautiful song. It's really well put together. It's a really, really great song. Then we've got this the Jackie Wilson Said, and we used to, we used to sing this at the match. People forget we used to sing the at the match, and I'll tell you the story in the book in a bit later. But it was a brilliant cover because at the time most people didn't realise it was a Van Morrison song. Most people didn't know that. So brilliant. We then, for me, have the best song on the album, which is Old, about getting old, possibly challenging the way people look at old people. The singing is stupendous. I mean, his vocals are absolutely out of this world. Very Brian Ferry as well at times, who was a huge influence on him. Beautiful croon on it, if you like, this beautiful, deep sort of beautiful baritone. We've then got I'll Show You, which is a sad song about the negative effect school and society can have on people. Then we got Liars A to E, which is an attack on journalists. and then Until I Believe in My Soul, which again is a song title which they took from sort of Ray Charles, and I think Van Morrison covered the same title, but it's not the same song. So brilliant song. It's got a mad jazz interlude in it. And then we've got Come On Eileen, which is a brilliant pop song about sort of young love and lust and all the rest of it. It's just a great song. It's a great, great song. And yes, we'll dance to it till the day we die. It's one of those songs everybody dances to it. Well, I'll come to Jockey Wilson in a minute. Pop images. So it's just a class. It's a class album. It's a 5-star album. Me and my mates, we did a show on Dexys on the top 10 songs and the top on the albums, and we had 3 different number ones. All right, so we had 3 different number ones when we did the show, so it was quite an interesting discussion with regards to it. So they haven't done a bad album, in my opinion. They're one of the great British bands, or Irish, British, whatever, you know. So in terms of books, I've gone with Kevin Rowland's book. Normally I do a film or a book or whatever, and I've gone with this. Bless me, Father. I listened to the audio book while I was walking late at night, trying to avoid any transfer discussions. and it was a brilliant book. Danny Baker said it right when he said, I listened to the book, and at times he's saying, please, Kevin, don't say that. Don't say that. Oh no, he said it. And it's almost cringe-worthy at times, but it's brilliant. He's so frank. He talks about this real hard, poverty-stricken upbringing he had. He originally, they're from Ireland, went and lived in Wolverhampton, went to London, then Birmingham. Later on in life, he talks about the hardship of his working-class background, his dad being a builder. So it was very tough. He was stealing lots of stuff when he was a kid, discusses his sexuality issues that he's had, his lack of ability to trust people, and various issues that he's got, But it's a fantastic read as well. It's enthralling, but at times it's almost like watching a comedy when you go, oh, please don't do that. Oh, no. It's like one of those. It's superb read. It's an absolutely fantastic read. And some funny anecdotes as well. He talks about the Jockey Wilson thing. We all thought that was a fault on Top of the Pops. And apparently it was deliberate. Yeah. They actually spoke to somebody behind the scenes and said, can you put a picture of Jockey Wilson up whilst we're doing it for a laugh? And I didn't know that until I read the book. I listened to the book. So there's obviously a sense of humor there as well. Some great stories, some great anecdotes. He was just literally arrested so many times by the police as a kid. It's unreal. I mean, he was in and out of the police station almost on a weekly basis by the sounds of it. So a bit of a crazy childhood when you listen to him, but top man. Some great stories. And apparently Taylor Swift's producer and co-songwriter, his favorite band are Dexys, and he apparently says to her on a regular basis, right, let's try and make it sound like Dexys, which Kevin Rowland was blown away at when he heard the story, fantastic. Good read, folks. Go out and give it a go. It's excellent.
Good
see the song that he's talking about, which reminds you of troubles at school. What's it called?
Let's have a look. I'll show you.
I'm going to listen to the words to that. The reason being is when I see that album, when I hear Dexys Midnight Runners, it reminds me of the troubles at school with the mods and the skinheads.
Well,
trying to get to school, trying to get home after high school.
Unusually, his book spends ages on his time at school. On it. So he talks about, and there was loads of trouble, and he was like in a Borstal type thing as well, and he used to be a priest. I'll give
it a listen.
It's a mad roller coaster, I have to say. Even towards the end, it's still bonkers. But brilliant.
I know you've asked for Denise's album. There's one from Tim, Out of the Blue, ELO, for one of you to review. And the other one is from Dean, Alan Hull, the Squire album.
I'll do the Alan Hull one because I'm a huge Alan Hull fan. So, I'll do Squire.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And the one, I usually start with this, but I was that excited to see Rob back on the show. I forgot. This was the album he wasn't reviewing today. It's called Lem Blockner Boner Adjustment. And these are real albums. But thankfully, he didn't review it, though. That was great. Rob, great to have you back, mate. Look forward to seeing you next week. And it will be Tuesdays at 6 o'clock on a night time, which is great for everybody. I know it's great for the viewers as well. So 6 o'clock, and Rob will join us 6:30 next week with another album. Take care, Rob.
See you then, man.
Cheers, bye-bye.
Great to have him on. And just a quick one before we look ahead to the game against Leeds. Big thanks to Sid. He came along and supported the Blake 7 convention. What did you make? What did you make of it, Sid?
I loved it. Bonkers. Brian's nuts. But Sally was fantastic. Me and my mate, we in were there, so we were big fans, obviously, as kids and all the rest of it. And Sally couldn't have been nicer. The two women were brilliant. They were absolutely top draw. But Sally was genuinely very, very funny. And she was laughing at a lot of the things we're saying. She was, yeah, great stuff. That mini Aurak absolutely had me in stitches. And some of Barry's costume, by the way, a big shout out to Barry for his costume. Well done. That was very brave. Some of the costumes were just superb. Yeah. Some of the questions, honestly. You know, when you get a question and you look at each other and you look at me going, oh, Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. Really, really enjoyed it.
Just to remind everybody, this was the final total. £2,711 is what we raised for North Tyneside Age UK Dementia. And we will do another one. There's not many we can do, to be fair, but we are going to have a look at doing at least one more, maybe next year. If not, it'll be the year after. But we will do another one. So if you missed out, don't worry, we will get you back into Newcastle, and you'll be able to come and experience that for yourselves. Okay, let's look ahead to the game of the weekend. Newcastle United, having drawn against Aston Villa and narrowly been defeated by the champions Liverpool, have to wait until Saturday to try and get their first victory of the season, and it is
it Saturday or Sunday?
It is Saturday. Let me double check. Have I got this right? I am right, am I? Yes, it is Saturday. Saturday, 5:30, live on Sky. You made us question myself there.
I've got it wrong then. I've told my wife it's Sunday.
I was going to have to rebook me trains there, mate, if I had been wrong. But yes, it is Saturday, 30th of August, 5:30. And it is live on Sky, for those of you who can't make it.
Karen will be pleased to tell her when I tell her now then. Yeah,
well, there you go. I've told you. It wouldn't surprise us if I got it wrong, mate. I have that many dates whirring around in my head. But yeah, Newcastle travelling to Leeds. And it's a welcome return for Leeds in the Premier League. So often the nearest we've had to a Derby for many years, but obviously Sunderland back in the Premier League, which we can look ahead to in December. But Anthony Gordon, of course, begins his suspension, and there are injury doubts, of course, over Sandro Tonali and Joe Linton. No news on them at this moment in time. And Fabian Schär, of course, will fall fate to the concussion rule, which rules him out of this game. Sean Longstaff will be preparing to face his former club for the first time since making the summer switch to Leeds. He's come off the bench in both Premier League games so far this season. Carl Darlow is the other ex-Margate Leeds. He hasn't played this season.
Can I just make a quick point, Steve? Something that's just come to mind there about last night and links with this in terms of ex-players.
Yeah.
Can I ask, where was the Wyn Davies tribute last night?
Yeah, I know.
Because I thought that was appalling. That really stuck in my throat a little bit last night.
But this isn't the first time that we brought this up on this show, because there was a player who passed away last season. I can't remember for the life of me now who it was. It was John Tudor. Tudor passed away. There was no tribute to John Tudor. But
we are nothing without our history, and it should never be forgotten. And I never saw Wyn Davies play. All right, I never saw him. I'm not old enough to have seen him. But you should not forget your history. You are who you are. You are your history, you know. And
if anybody got a programme from last night, did they pay tribute to Wyn Davies in the programme? If anybody's got a programme out there, please let me know. And if you're not watching live and you're listening to this later, drop it in the comments. Let me know. I don't get a programme.
I just thought Will Flags could have done something about it, you know. And I just thought it would have been a nice gesture, you know. I thought personally, anyway, I was putting that out there. Sorry, Steve.
Listen, I think it's a valid point, and it's something which I hadn't even thought of. But that's because we went through this whole John Tudor thing, and we were told, you know, it's not happening anymore. We're not going to do it anymore. So there we go. Referee Peter Banks, the Lancashire-based official last game at Newcastle, was the 2-1 defeat of Brentford in April, and VAR is Jared Gillette. As I've already mentioned, it is live on Sky Sports. Leeds coming off the back of a 5-0 defeat.
Yeah, that's worrying.
Yeah, it is. But in Newcastle, of course, all kinds of problems. But we're in a better position with the squad, it has to be said. Yes. You know, we have got players who can come in. This could be a Sula's chance to shine. This could be Jacob Ramsey's opportunity to cement his place in the team. This could be Miller Kachow's time to cement his place alongside Dan Burn. And Lewis Hall might find himself back in the reckoning, you know, depending on what kind of formation we go for. Bearing in mind as well, Lewis Hall can play midfield as well as left back.
Well, I was going to say that, yeah.
So, we have got options here. We're going to be forced into options here with this. So, and it's Tuesday. We've still got time to sign somebody to go on the bench in time for
True.
the match at the weekend.
Yep.
We could get Whistle over the line. We could get Larson over the line. We could get both of them over the line. So there's a lot can change between now and the weekend. So
Yep.
what's your feelings on this game?
No striker. I'm going 1-1.
Okay, so you've gone straight in with a prediction 1-1.
Yeah, with this striker, I will win. And
Okay.
I think it's that big a difference, I really do, because I don't see Leeds getting thumped 5-0 again. I just don't see it happening. They can't be that stupid. And also what's interesting is we've played two teams who attack. We're now going to go up against a team who are just going to sort of block, do a low, I hate the phrase a low block, but they're going to do a low block. And can we break them down? And that's where it's going to come down to, Steve. Have we got the tools to break them down? Now, Jacob Ramsey, if you look at his data, he's one of those guys, and I hate to get all a bit, more technical, but he's one of those guys who can sort of literally break the lines. He's got it in him. His data is excellent for it. I think he was only second to Kevin De Bruyne 2 seasons ago, so the lad's got something, and he looked excellent last night, I have to say, on first appearances. So. Who knows? I really don't know. A lot's going to rest on Miley's shoulders because he's filling the biggest boots on the park, in my opinion, with regards to Tonali, who is the one world-class footballer that we've got playing for us currently at the moment, whilst the other one can't be bothered to make an appearance. So, yeah, a big time for Miley. I'm going to spread it out there. The next 3 months, make or break time. I really do think that, and we're going to see what he's made of and whether he is at that level or not.
I mean, the bottom line is he was rapidly approaching a loan move out of the club at one point in the summer. There was talk of him leaving because how on earth was he going to get in? But how things can change. And bearing in mind that Tonali's shoulder looks like a long-term injury. Joe Linton tightness and the fact that he went off in tears, he knows that that's a repetition of something. Yeah. So we're now looking at 2 long-term injuries. Ramsey and Miley could cement their places in there because we've got no options at the moment.
The interesting one is Willock as well in it, because I personally think his time's up. And I like him a lot. Great guy, obviously a lovely, lovely fella. But I think maybe he's like Ramsey actually. It's maybe his time's to move to a different club and get that new bit of impetus and do something a little bit different and change the environment.
Big pal of Isaacs as well.
And a massive, his best friend, isn't he, apparently, at the club. So I personally, not that it's got anything to do with this, I think I personally think it's time for him to go and get a different type of player in. I want to see somebody who can split the defences, who can come on and do something a little bit different, because a lot of our players are almost like for like. I want to see someone who's got something a little bit different. Maybe somebody who can weave past a couple of players and just ping past through. I mean, Man City got Cherky, for example. That sort of player, somebody who's a playmaker and something got a little bit about them, something a little bit special. And they are out there. The young lad, Antonio Mango, if people watch him, he's great. His information in regards to young players and players who've got that stuff's brilliant. So they definitely exist. I would like to see Newcastle do something a little bit, take a chance, be a little bit different and have that wild card to go on the bench and maybe start games, because I think we need to be able to break these types of defences down, who are going to all just literally plonk themselves behind the ball. Have we got players to do it and beat them? I don't know. We shall find out at the weekend. But I don't see it being 5-0, Steve.
No, I don't see it being 5-0, and I can understand your frustrations and I can understand where you're coming from with regards to, not having a centre forward and maybe going 1-1. But yeah, I'll give my prediction a little bit later in the week. It gives me
if we had a centre forward though, 3-4, yeah, and I'd have no problem with regards to saying that, But
yeah, of course, Leeds play tonight as well in the Carabao Cup against Sheffield Wednesday. So, yeah.
They're going to stick a B team out, though, aren't they? Let's be honest. Their priority is not to win the Cup. It's literally just to survive. It's their priority. As I spoke to my friend from Sunderland today and asked him what his prediction was, and he said 17th. And he'd be buzzing with that. And that's exactly Leeds' target as well, isn't it? It's survive the season and then kick on, like Forest did, and Sunderland's gone for it, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What gives you? Give us your prediction for the season then, Sid. I know it's difficult.
It
I'll
is.
tell you what, I'll ask you next week.
Yeah.
Next week. So give us your prediction for the transfer window. Isak, does he stay, does he go?
Stays.
Isak stays. Newcastle United, did they get a centre forward in before transfer?
Yes,
Do
one.
you think we'll get another player as well
One.
as a centre forward? Just the one.
Yes, I do. I think we'll get a midfielder.
Okay. Yeah, we may have to.
So-
Any more outgoings, do you think? If you've said Isak's staying, Willock?
I'm going for Joe Willock to go.
Right. All right. Okay.
And if I was Leeds, I'd go and buy Lascelles at the weekend.
He's the other one on my list. Lascelles.
If I were Leeds and you want to stay up and you want to get a guy who gives everything and is top form and ultra professional, go and buy Lascelles and he'll keep you up for the season.
He's not going to get a game this season, I wouldn't have thought.
So he would. If I were them, I'd go out and get him. Oh, I really would. I think he's superb.
1100 watching live. Thank you very much. We'll never take it for granted on this channel. Big thank you to the Scousers who've joined us in abundance tonight as well. Hope you enjoyed the show. We didn't get much abuse of them, so that we're clearly quite level-headed on this podcast, as we always are. Don't forget, though, Talk of the Toons, regular slot will be Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. The only way it'll change, of course, is we'll have to do pre-record for whatever reason. But Sid and Rob, of course, good to have you back, lads. And see you next week, Sid.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Or Mark Byers will be over the moon.